world that glorifies action and busyness, we often forget the quiet power of reflection. What if the secret to true greatness lies not in how much we do, but in the balance between thought and service? Fulton Sheen's profound message invites us to explore the lives of Gandhi, John F. Kennedy, Pope John III, and Dag Hammarskjöld, figures who found greatness by first contemplating deeply and then acting boldly. Join me as we uncover how this delicate dance between contemplation and action can lead to a life of lasting impact and purpose.
The dance of contemplation and action, Fulton Sheen's path to true greatness. In a world that often glorifies busyness and activity, it is easy to overlook the profound impact that stillness and reflection can have on our lives. We are bombarded with the message that to be successful, we must always be moving, achieving, and progressing. But as we rush forward, are we missing the essence of what it truly means to live a life of meaning and purpose? Fulton Sheen, in his timeless wisdom, invites us to pause and consider a different approach. What if true greatness doesn't lie in constant action, but in the delicate balance between reflection and service? What if the secret to a fulfilled life is found in the rhythm of contemplation and action? In his sermon, Sheen presents a compelling argument that the path to sainthood and true greatness is paved with both contemplation and action. He doesn't just suggest that we alternate between the two. He insists that they must be deeply intertwined, each feeding and sustaining the other. Without contemplation, action is aimless. Without action, contemplation becomes stagnant. Sheen's insights, drawn from the lives of four remarkable figures, Mahatma Gandhi, John F. Kennedy, Pope John III, and Dag Hammarskjöld, offer a roadmap for anyone seeking to live a life of purpose and impact. The World Divided, the Go-Go and the Cum-Cum Sheen, begins by contrasting two groups that exist in the modern world: the Go-Go group and the Cum-Cum group. The Go-Go individuals are constantly on the move, immersed in action, driven by the external demands of the world around them. They are the ones who believe that success is measured by how much they accomplish, how many tasks they complete, and how fast they move. But in their relentless pursuit of achievement, they often fail to pause, reflect, or find deeper meaning in their actions. They are in motion, but without purpose. On the other side, the Cum-Cum group represents those who withdraw from the world, seeking refuge in contemplation. They believe that wisdom and insight come from deep reflection, prayer, and meditation. Yet while they may possess great ideas, they remain disconnected from the world, unable to bring their insights into action. They are rich in thought, but poor in deeds. Sheen's message is clear. Neither group, on its own, can achieve true greatness. It is only when the two are brought together, when contemplation fuels action and action is guided by reflection, that we can lead lives of deep significance. This is the balance that Christ modeled in his life, first inviting his followers to come to him for inspiration, and then commanding them to go into the world to serve. The call to greatness lies in the harmony between stillness and movement, thought and action. Gandhi, nonviolence begins within. One of the most powerful examples of this balance can be found in the life of Mahatma Gandhi. To the world, Gandhi is known as the great leader of nonviolence, a man who fought for the independence of India through peaceful resistance. But Sheen peels back the layers of Gandhi's public life to reveal the deep inner work that preceded his activism. Gandhi's commitment to nonviolence toward others began with a fierce discipline of nonviolence toward himself. Before Gandhi could lead a movement, he had to master his own desires, ego, and impulses. He embraced fasting and celibacy, believing that self-mastery was the foundation for mastering the world's injustices. Gandhi's greatness did not come from grand speeches or public demonstrations alone. It came from the quiet, personal battles he fought within himself. He believed that if he could conquer his own selfishness, he could inspire others to overcome theirs. In this way, Gandhi's contemplation of the Sermon on the Mount became the fuel for his lifelong activism. He lived the truth that to change the world, one must first change oneself. Through Gandhi's life, Sheen teaches us that action without inner transformation is hollow. True nonviolence, and indeed true leadership, must begin with the self. Only when we have confronted our own weaknesses and desires can we hope to lead others with authenticity and integrity. John F. Kennedy, the hidden strength of silent suffering. While Gandhi's life demonstrates the power of self-mastery, John F. Kennedy's story offers a different lesson about the balance between contemplation and action. Kennedy's public persona was one of charisma, confidence, and leadership. He is remembered for his bold vision and his ability to inspire a generation. But Sheen reminds us that beneath Kennedy's polished exterior lay a man who suffered deeply and silently. Kennedy's life was marked by physical pain, a result of injuries sustained during his military service. This pain, which he bore in silence, became an occult cross that he carried throughout his life. It was something he rarely spoke about, yet it shaped him in profound ways. Sheen argues that this hidden suffering was a source of strength for Kennedy, purifying his character and deepening his wisdom. Pain, Sheen suggests, is a great teacher. It strips away superficiality, ego, and selfishness, leaving behind a more refined and empathetic soul. Kennedy's pain was not just a burden, it was a gift that made him a better leader. Sheen likens pain to the tightening of violin strings. Just as the strings must be tightened to produce beautiful music, so too must we endure suffering to become our best selves. Through Kennedy's example, Sheen challenges us to view our own struggles not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth. Suffering, when embraced with courage and grace, can lead us to greater wisdom and deeper understanding. Pope John III, the simplicity of love. In the life of Pope John III, Sheen finds yet another example of the balance between contemplation and action. Known for his warmth, humility, and sense of humor, Pope John embodied the idea that love for God must lead to love for humanity. His greatness was not found in intellectual brilliance or theological complexity, but in his simple, heartfelt love for others. Sheen highlights that Pope John's love for the world flowed from his deep contemplation of God's love. It was this connection with the divine that gave him the strength to open the Church to the modern world through the Second Vatican Council. Pope John's contemplation of God's infinite love translated into tangible acts of kindness and openness toward all people. His life teaches us that the most profound actions often come from the simplest motivations: love of God and love of neighbor. Pope John's sense of humor, his ability to laugh at himself, and his deep humility were all rooted in his understanding that life, when lived in love, becomes uncomplicated and full of joy. Through his example, Sheen reminds us that greatness is not always found in grand gestures or complex ideas. It can be found in the simple, everyday acts of kindness that flow from a heart filled with love. Dag Hammarskjöld, the hidden power of interiority. The final figure Sheen discusses is Dag Hammarskjöld, the former Secretary General of the United Nations. Hammarskjöld's life was marked by a profound sense of interiority, a quiet inner strength that few people knew about. Unlike the other figures Sheen discusses, Hammarskjöld's greatness was not visible to the world. It was hidden in his deep spiritual life and personal sacrifices. Hammarskjöld's commitment to peace was rooted in his contemplation of Christ's suffering. He saw his own life as a reflection of the life of Christ, marked by unjust accusations and quiet endurance. His decision to remain chaste, his devotion to Scripture, and his willingness to give his life for the cause of peace all stemmed from this deep interior life. Hammarskjöld's greatness was not in what he did, but in who he became through his inner sacrifices. Through Hammarskjöld's life, Sheen teaches us that true power comes from within. It is not always the loudest or most visible leaders who have the greatest impact. Sometimes, the most profound contributions come from those who live quietly, rooted in deep spiritual conviction. Greatness is not always public. It can be hidden in the quiet depths of a soul dedicated to God. The dance of reflection and service. Throughout Sheen's sermon, one theme remains constant. The balance between contemplation and action is essential for true greatness. Each of the figures he discusses, Gandhi, Kennedy, Pope John, and Hammarskjöld, began with deep reflection, whether through prayer, suffering, or love. It was this contemplation that gave them the strength, clarity, and purpose to act in ways that changed the world. Sheen warns that without contemplation, action becomes mere busyness, a flurry of activity without direction or meaning. But when action is rooted in reflection, it becomes powerful and transformative. To truly make a difference, we must first seek wisdom and inspiration from within before we turn outward to serve others. The ultimate path to greatness, love and action. In the end, Sheen's message is one of love and service. Whether it is Gandhi's self-discipline, Kennedy's silent suffering, Pope John's love for humanity, or Hammarskjöld's quiet interiority, each of these figures exemplifies the idea that true greatness is found in giving of oneself for the sake of others. They each came to contemplate and then went into the world to act. Sheen's sermon calls us to follow their example, to balance our lives between reflection and action, and to root everything we do in love. Love is the force that drives us to serve, and service is the expression of that love. By cultivating both, we can lead lives of meaning and purpose, making a lasting impact on the world around us. Conclusion: the harmony of stillness and movement. Fulton Sheen's reflections on contemplation and action remind us that greatness is not achieved through action alone, nor through contemplation in isolation. It is the union of the two, reflection and service, that creates a life of true significance. As we look to the examples of Gandhi, Kennedy, Pope John, and Hammarskjöld, we see that each of them took time to contemplate, and it was from this place of inner strength that they went forth to change the world. Sheen's message is clear. If we seek to make a difference, we must first look within. Through contemplation, we find the wisdom and inspiration needed to act. Through action, we express the love and service that flow from our reflections. In this balance, we discover the true path to greatness, a path that is open to all who are willing to both come and go.